everyone, Sue here from 1A Auto, and today we have a 2013 Toyota Camry in the shop with a V6 3.5 liter. I'm going to show you how to remove and replace the AC and coolant fan assembly. If you need that part or any other part for your car, click on the link below and head on over to 1AAuto.com. To take the undercarriage shield down, we're going to need a 10mm socket and a body clip tool. This car has had the shield down, somebody replaced. So for the most part, it should be a 10mm socket, but this one someone put in, they are actually standard 13 or ½ inch socket, so I'm just going to take them down. Switch over to the 10. So you're going to do the same per side. So there's those 3 bolts with that little rubber vent, just directs the airflow. You're going to take those down, and then you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 across the front, and then 1 body clip. I'm going to do the body clip. There's the R for right side, passenger side. And the L for left side. Once your shields are down, you can see the lower part of your radiator, and you'll see the drain right there, the petcock, and it's just a plastic butterfly. Sometimes you can do it by hand, and sometimes you can't. I just use a pair of small pliers, and I just grab it gently and give it a slight twist. Then I'll use my hand. I have my catch bucket ready to go. Now we've lowered the vehicle. I'm still draining the radiator while I work on the top here. And to let the radiator drain a little faster, I'm going to release the cap, take the pressure off. I just rest it on top. Now to take the shroud off, the top shroud, these buttons on Toyotas are push in. So you're going to push them in halfway. They all click down. All the way over. And now I'm going to pull the whole shroud up with one motion. Put that there. Now I can just lift that aside. To remove the radiator overflow reservoir tank, it's a 10mm socket for 2 mounting bolts and then just the hose. So I'm just going to take this one off and this one. And all you got to do is take the overflow hose, sometimes just pinch it and pull. And you lift your tank right up. I'm going to take the airbox breather off from the radiator support, 10mm socket. And now I got to undo the vacuum hoses that are attached to it. And then the clips for this. So if you flip it over this way. There we go. Now we can see the actual connectors. And you just get a pair of pliers or needle nose pliers, and you can just squeeze these little ears and the piece will pop right out. Before I took the air dam off, I had disconnected the solenoid here. And this is what it looks like. It's just a push down tab, and it's located right here. It's an evap solenoid. Squeeze on the tab, pull it out. Then I undid the harness from the air dam, and now it's attached to the radiator fan shroud. So I'm going to take a body tool, and I'm going to put it right down in there and see if I can hopefully not break it, because I like to reuse the clips. Get that out of the way. We're going to take this lower air dam to the earbox, disconnect that. Now I can see that I have 1, 2 more for this harness alone, and I'm going to get a pair of needle nose so I don't break it. So you can reach down in there, grab those little tab ears on it, pull that forward, like that. That's connected here to this module. As you can see, just push down on this tab and then push it off. One more over here. With the radiator still draining, I'm going to disconnect the upper radiator hose clamp. I'm just going to use a pair of pliers, bring it down. Now you can just grab that hose and give it a quick twist. If that doesn't come free, like this one isn't. Some people use big channel locks, pliers. I like to be careful with the teeth of a plier on that hose. So they do make a tool that is a pick-like. So they make this tool so that you can place it on a hose and work it between the radiator or the actual attachment part. But the idea is not to damage the hose. There we go, finally. So now you're going to separate the hose, how it sticks to the plastic. Just bring it all the way around. There you go. Now we have a little clip here holding this harness for the O2 sensor. It's not a necessity, but I don't like to put strain on wires. And that's tension, a lot of tension right there. So I'm just going to undo this clip so that I can fold the upper radiator hose back. Now, I've worked on a lot of Toyotas, and I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. Take that clamp out of the way, and now we can fold the upper radiator hose up. Make sure it's secure, because you weren't flapping back, spraying it, cooling all over your face. You have to remove the upper radiator support, so I'm going to disconnect just the wires to the horns. And you see these buttons right here, just going to push down on that tab, pull the connector off, both horns. And now we're going to take these 3 mounting bolts for this latch. 2 for the latch and 1 for the center post. 10mm wrench. I can actually just leave that attached, I think. Actually, the cable's going to run through here, and there's probably a clip somewhere along the line. So I am going to make sure that that latch is available to come completely out. Set that down. Now we're going to undo this bracket. Same 10mm wrench, same spot on the other side. Now I can use a socket for the top too. 10mm. Now we should be able to lift this right up with possibly a cable over here holding it. There's the cable that I was talking about. So here's the tab right there, I see it. Nice pair of flat nose or needle nose. And we can lift that right up out of the way. Now we're going to undo the AC condenser. It's bolted to the actual radiator with 4 mounting bolts, 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom. 10mm socket, and we'll just break these free. You don't want to have to disconnect the AC lines just to do this job. That's a whole separate job at AC service. So let's cut down on the expense and we can go around that. They're not long, little short bolts. And then there's 2 on the bottom. Dropped it. And then 1 over here. Now you're not going to be able to lift this condenser up and out. It's basically going to stay right in place because the AC lines are attached to it. We're just separating it from the radiator. Okay, now at this point we have to take the lower radiator hose off. So I'm going to raise the vehicle back up, take the clamp off of that, and make sure that my automatic training lines, which I don't believe go through this radiator on this style, has a separate cooler. If you have an older model or a model somewhat like this that doesn't have that separate cooler, there will be automatic transmission lines mounted on the bottom. The radiator almost finished draining, just dripping very little, but the petcock is above the actual lower radiator, so we're going to get coolant out of this still. So I just hand tighten that. I'm going to just lock it with my pliers. Just 1/8 of a turn right there, you saw it. That way, if I don't forget and I'm reinstalling this radiator, I don't have any leaks. So now to take the clamp off, just use a pair of pliers and work it up the hose. Make sure I move your bucket over. And hope you don't get soaked. Let's see if it will even loosen up. Nope. I'll have to use my tool. Here she comes. So hopefully I don't get awesome. Now we can lower the vehicle and pull the radiator and fan shroud from the top. So to take the fan shroud off the radiator, now at this point I'm ready to disconnect. I can pull the whole thing out. My electrical lines are disconnected. The fans are attached to each other. That's the only lines that are left. Lower radiator hose is off. There's no automatic transmission lines to the radiator. So I'm ready to lift this thing up and take it all out. But I want to show you, if you're not replacing your radiator, you don't have to take the whole radiator out with the shrouds if you're doing just the fans. It'd still be just as easy, and then you can actually hose your radiator down and clean it. So you can let it have better cooling and examine it, make sure there's no pinholes in that radiator or ready to rot. But we're gonna just see if we can pull this out. So there's clips, no bolts. You used to have little 10mm head bolts on this. These are 2 pinch clips here. I'm gonna pull that there. Then I've got 2 here and 2 here. And there is our shroud. Now let's see if it clears everything. It doesn't look like it's gonna clear the upper radiator too easy, but we'll see what we can get done. Aha, I see what's going on. So there is a plastic clamp that holds the radiator lower hose to the shroud. So in order not to get too lost in that, I'm just going to take the clamp off the top of the lower radiator hose where it meets over here. And we will take the whole hose out with the shroud. There you go. Oh yeah, need the tool again. There you go. There we go. And now let's pull it. Ah, there it is. Not too bad. Now with the fan shroud out of the way, the radiator is ready to come up. I'm just gonna pull it straight up. Now don't forget there's residual. There's some residual coolant in there, so don't tip it that way. And there's your radiator. Here we have the factory fan shroud with fan and motors and module from our 2013 Toyota Camry. The module has to be transferred over to the one that we just got from our 1A Auto site. So you can see that it comes with 2 motors already pre-wired with the same connectors that match that module. Same height, same mounting mechanisms, same styles of everything. Got the mounting holes with the pre-tapped fittings for the overflow tank. So you just have to transfer the module over and everything is lined up the way it goes. If you can see the fins, the fan is the same exact size, which is a good note because sometimes I see on a lot of these cooling fans, they'll have not as many blades, the motors aren't the same size. These match up pretty good, almost perfect, so that makes me a little happy. 7mm or Phillips screwdriver socket 7mm. Snap these bolts right out of here. They already pre-mounted the fittings in there for you. So you just gotta lift that module up and disconnect them. See the push pins right here. Push down, pull. I'm gonna leave them the way they are. They come pre-lined up, and it is 2 different types of connectors, so you can't mess it up. You got the oval one, just gonna go right in there. And then the other one, it's just rectangle. Now you can line that right up. There's the pin, there it is. Make sure you use the guides for where the wire harnesses go in so none fall into the fans, and you should be ready to go. If you need this part or any other part for your car, click on the link below and head on over to 1aauto.com. Now with the new radiator and the new fan shroud, I'm going to put them together before I assemble them. Put them together in the car at the same time. I'm going to line those up. It's not uncommon for plastic just to be a hair off. You just have to give it a good push and it falls right down in. Now you get the upper clips here, 3 of them across the top. They're already pre-lined up. Just going to push them down, let them click. 1, 2, 3, ready to go. Now our assembly is ready to put right into the car. All right, now we're gonna pick it up and slide it right in. Now that little air thing is gonna be the only thing that's gonna really, hopefully, be in your way. And the radiator hose. Just push that down over the alternator. Might have to keep pushing that AC condenser a little bit. All right, now let's see if we're in our mouse down there. Nope, I'm gonna pick it up. There we go. Okay, that's in. Let's see if we can thread that through. Now once this is tightened, to do the bottom ones, I'm going to raise it up so I can see it. I can see it pretty clearly from down below instead of trying to work without being able to see what I'm doing. So now I've got those on, and I'm going to put the top support bar on, bracket, radiator bracket, and then raise her up. So we get the 2 bushings here. I'm going to go right on top of those ears. We'll get the bracket. Okay, here comes the radiator support. Now I'm going to grab that release hood cable and remember how this was mounted. Ah, there it is. Get it up there. So make sure you put that down below. Let's find that clip. Here it is. And I know that it went right in here. Get that out of the way. Oh, look at that. Put all the bolts back in. Start them by hand. All right, so I'm going to put the center one in first. None of this is Torx. It's just tight as tight. I've got those 2 in the bottom one, but I want to tighten that one up. All right, let's put the hood release latch on. Then the one down below. All right, let's get that ratchet to work. This one's pretty tight already by hand. Yeah. Okay, I'm really gonna snug them in. I got these two right here. Nope, that's not fast forward. That's how fast I am. Don't blink. Not so fast over here. All right, now let's do the top two. This lovely airbox intake right there. Now if I put this upper hose on, clamp, clamp, camp. There we go. Oh, thank you. And then we have the lower hose over here on this bracket. Nice. Factory line still has the blue paint on it. Lines right up with that notch. Come on now, did you see that? It was on, it came right off. Beautiful, looks good. So you have a guide pin here. It's in that shroud and the two mounting bolts. So line that tab up, place it down. I'm gonna put the hose right on. And then you can just take your bolts, start them, and then I can use my electric gun. So now I'm gonna work this harness back down over. Oh, see? Jump to conclusions with that one. This is the cutout. Put that harness right in there. Then there's one right down there. Now we got the main fan module. That's the wiring right there. Here I click. And now I'm going to connect that evap connector off of the air housing. Upside down. Wonderful. Okay, here we go. Nice. Work the two vacuum lines down in. Mount everything, lines up. Harness. And two little bolts. Now we're going to put our top shroud on, and it's got all these push pins that you push down on them. That's how you pop them out. To put them back in, just take the pin, push it all the way up. Use the car, and now that's ready to go in. Just push it down, flush, like that. Now that's all that is left is to fill it with coolant. So whenever doing a radiator or any coolant fill system, we sell this, maybe you've seen one of them before, but we sell it on our website. And it's a coolant funnel, a self-burper. It works really good. It's been around for a long time. But this kit comes with all new modern stuff. I have one of the original ones that came out probably close to 15 years ago. I'm not going to date myself. But it doesn't come with all these cool attachments. So we know we have the European small, so I'm going to use that one. It comes with two of them. You have one that's wider than the other as far as the prongs go, and all these adapters that go with it. And I like how they're color coded, because once you use it enough, you can say, oh, I know that the purple is for GMs and the black is for like Fords or vice versa, and then you've got the little imports. A couple of elbows. Okay, so let's see how this works. So the first thing you want to do is, on this radiator, it has a raised neck to it. So you're going to find the one with the shortest fill. That would be that green one. Now I'm going to look at my radiator, and I know that that could be it, or that could be it. So let's try this one first. And you want it to be snug. And I lucked out. Perfect. So then you just take your funnel, push it down in, take the stopper out. I'm going to put all this stuff aside. It's not used on this car. And now you take your coolant of choice. I have some aftermarket Asian coolant for Asian engines, all aluminum engines, and it's already pre-mixed. And you just start to fill your car. And it will self-burp. It doesn't make a mess. I could just keep filling that right up. It'll just drop itself right down and burp away. When I put the shield back up, I've got the R for right side, which would be the passenger side. You can see the cutout of the fender well right here. So I'm going to guide it in. So you want the tab from the bumper underneath, and you want to put all these little flares up under like that. So I'm going to put one bolt in and hold it. And then I'm going to go over here, and I've got my fender guide here. So that's going to go on top there, then that one. Now this has that rubber piece, remember? I'm going to get my electric gun with my 10mm socket. Start on here. I'm going to do the same on the driver's side, which is the plastic that says L. So that's going to go overlap up inside. And the one piece I put on, the one bolt I tighten up. Of course, like that. Up inside the fender flare. There we go. So now I can take my rubber piece here, put that up. Let me make sure I line that up. Okay, up in the front here. Get this one. Get this one that overlaps. So this piece is going to go down underneath it. And the last one is a replacement push pin. So now we're ready to run our vehicle and let the coolant burp in the overflow fill tank that we have. It's a coolant burping tool. So you're going to want to run this with the heat on the max and at vent with AC off. And you can turn the blower on just a little if you want. We just want to make sure that the hot coolant circulates through the heater core, and that way you get the proper level. So after about 45 minutes, 50 minutes, that should be full temperature for this car. Just make sure you hear your coolant fans come on because you did replace them. If you didn't replace them, you disconnected them. Either way, the cooling fans coming on is a good indication that the PCM's getting the proper signal from the ECT sensor that your thermostat's working and the coolant's full. So, have fun.
Thanks for watching. Visit 1AAuto.com for quality auto parts shipped to your door, the place for DIY auto repair. And if you enjoyed this video, please click the subscribe button.